It's time to talk about what we witnessed last night for the Cavaliers versus Pacers in Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Semifinals. And I'm not gonna preface it with a bunch of mumbo jumbo. I'm gonna let you have at it right now. I've been talking a lot. I want to hear what you have to say, man.
Listen, I watched the same game as you, I think. We were texting a little. I know you were working the game, but me, you, and John were texting. And at times I thought you and John were watching a different game because neither of you seemed bothered by what we were seeing. And that did surprise me a little bit. The Cavs looked like they weren't ready for game one. That's the biggest takeaway that I can give you. You can blame Garland. Um, Coach Atkinson came out today, NBA Coach of the Year, by the way. Coach Atkinson came out today and he said that they were a little too brutal, too physical. And he's bemoaning that, which I don't like, by the way. But they seem surprised by Indiana's speed, even though they've been talking about it for days. I don't know why they'd be surprised. It's like they knew what was coming, but they couldn't simulate it in practice. It makes zero sense. I mean, give the Pacers credit here. They did go 44 of 83 from the field, which is 53%, and they were 19 of 36 from three, which is 52.8%. They shot lights out, certainly. But the frustrating thing was, like I said, it looks like the Cavs weren't ready. And yes, the Pacers were playing fast. Our transition defense was horrible last night. But here's the thing. They might have been playing fast. They were playing at a 99.5 pace rating, which is the fastest they've played, except for one game so far in the playoffs. But again, I don't get it because we've played 47 games this year at a faster pace and we went 40-7. So I'm just not sure what exactly broke down. You can maybe blame Garland's absence in a guard heavy kind of series. The biggest stats that point out for me, though, it's not Garland's absence, and I want to hear what you think in a second. But it's what we did or didn't do in the paint. So we did have 70 points in the paint. Ty Jerome touched the ball more than anybody, with the exception of Mitchell, which is crazy. There were times when he was trying to do a little too much, like he knew Garland being out, he needed to step up. But for me, it came down to Mobley. I don't think that Mobley did what he needed to do, and he was outside of the arc way too often for me. We have an advantage with our bigs, and we weren't using it like we could have been. That was a bit frustrating to see, I got to say. He scored 20 points and had 10 boards, but he only took 13 shots. He also turned it over 4 times. So Mobley's absence, I think, hurt us a little more than anything. And how we flowed the offense, it didn't look like the Cavs.
Yeah, I think this story is the battle between rust and rest. Um, we got the rest from sweeping Miami, and we go against a much faster paced Indiana team who plays aggressive, hard basketball. And it looked like we were expecting to go out there and sweep. Listen, I was on the show last time we sat down. The clip's out there. I put it out there on Sunday before game one of me doing the Shannon Sharp rhyme and saying Cavs in four. Obviously, it's not Cavs in four anymore. We got full of ourselves.
A
We
little
got
bit.
punched in the mouth. How will you respond? That is my question of the day, is how is this team going to respond? Am I nervous as a fan a little bit because that's just what you do as a fan? But I'm not going to be pressing panic button until I see what happens tomorrow in game 2 when they play again at Romo Fijo, which is now just Rocket Arena. And really show if they can respond to this. Now, there's some storylines that have come out today that worry me. Brian Windhorst reports that the Cavs view the Pacers as a bad matchup internally. Then you have the injury stuff. DeAndre Hunter dislocated his thumb on that hard foul that should have been called a foul. So he's questionable. Evan Mobley landed wrong on his ankle. He has an ankle injury. He's questionable. There's been rumors of Donovan Mitchell having some lower leg extremity issues going on out there. I believe that was from the Windhorst article. It might have been from a different publication, so don't quote me on that. That Mitchell is having injuries. This team, we've said it since day one, needs to stay injury free if they want to go on the run that they want to have. And right now, all the storylines that we're looking at scares the absolute hell out of me in terms of that. Now, what do I think is going to happen tomorrow? I think Evan Mobley, Darius Garland, and Donovan Mitchell play. I don't know about you, Eric. You can tone in if you want. I think DeAndre Hunter is probably going to be out a couple games because of that dislocation in a hand in a sport that you use your hands a lot. What do you think is going to happen with the injuries, E?
Yeah, I mean, I could see all those guys playing, frankly. I mean, it's his left hand, if I'm not mistaken. That said, yeah, I kind of agree with your take. Listen, I agree 100% with what you're saying. It's going to be how they respond. And I don't think we're going to shoot as poorly on night two as we did in night one. And I don't necessarily think that they're going to shoot as well on night two as night one. I will say, though, that, and I want to hear your take, what Kenny Atkinson, the coach, said about the physicality. Yes, there were times where there were no calls when there should have been calls. Certainly, I'm not arguing against that. Ty Jerome, I wish would stop arguing and get his ass back on defense, but that's another thing. But to say there was no point in that series where I thought it was overly physical, like it was too much. I just saw hard basketball being played. So to come out and say, hey, it was too physical, our guys are getting hurt, I didn't think that was the case, honestly. What do you think?
Yeah, I kind of disagree with you, honestly. I mean, I was there in
Really?
the arena. I saw a lot of rough play. I'm never one to complain about rough play, though. I played offensive line my whole life, and you're taught if you're not cheating, you're not trying, and all of that. So throwing a bow and kind of playing a little aggressive is the name of the game, and my thought process when it comes to sports. That being said, though, I remember there was a three that Struess took that he got collapsed on, and it looked like an air ball, probably on TV, but in person, it looked like he got jacked up. We're talking about Miles Turner getting underneath Mobley. That's where the ankle injury came from. The DeAndre Hunter play is a prime example of it as well. I thought there was some ticky tackiness. There was some talk online too about like, oh, these refs suck. I never like to buy into those narratives either, but I can understand the thought process of it being a rough game um, in terms
That's
of the
basketball,
injury.
though, baby. I mean,
Oh, and I
you
agree.
got to
Like I
fight through
said,
that. You got to be tough on your side.
off the rip, I don't ever buy into the, oh, well, they're playing too hard against us. That it's just not how my sports mentality works, right? Um, you got beat, they were stronger, they were more physical. Get over yourself. That being said, though, this is a prime opportunity for this Cleveland Cavaliers team to look at the media who has doubted them all year and shut them up. This team's playing you physical. The lights aren't too bright anymore. Jared Allen, throw a bow, throw a check like you did the one time in that Detroit Pistons game when you got shoved. It's time to fight fire with fire and be badasses. Period, in my opinion.
I will say that the biggest about face that I'm about to make, and I think you'll agree, is we were floating the idea of maybe we trade Garland for some assets next year and sign Ty Jerome to a massive contract. I'm not sure I'm in favor of that anymore. I mean, if I had to grade Jerome this game, I'd give him an F. I mean, he was trying to do way too much. I think he's blocked on at least 4 floater attempts. His confidence just had head scratching moments of stuff that he was putting up. I mean, he converted some, don't get me wrong, but we missed Garland in this game, man. And why were we playing Sam Merrill and Dean Wade as much as we were playing? Dean Wade did okay. He only shot the ball twice, but Sam Merrill, like, what are we doing?
See, and my eye test in the stadium, my first note for the whole game, I take notes as I have time in between, throwing t-shirts and doing my thing at the stadium. Dean Wade doesn't deserve playoff minutes at this point, is the exact note I wrote down. It was the first thing I wrote down. He had a span, I believe it was in the third to fourth quarter, where he did nothing but miss shots and blow up defensively. I get that
Well,
we have to
he
go a
he only
little,
took 2 shots for the record. So
that's
he's 0
fair.
for 2, but
But and I get that we're at a point too that we kind of have to play a little deeper in the depth because Garland's out, and then you had I don't know if Hunter was out at this point. I think he might have been. The moment I'm thinking of, but Dean Wade has shown nothing to earn his keep in the playoffs. Sam Merrill, I at least give him credit because he played hard defense in that Miami series and he was hot.
Wait,
That being
wait,
said,
wait, hold on. You got to flip this because yes, I agree with you that Merrill locked down Tyler Hero in the Miami series, but he looked lost in the motion offense last night. Not our motion offense, their motion offense. Whereas
yeah, I
Dean
mean
Wade,
the whole
no,
team
I know,
did.
but hold on. Dean Wade was locking down Halliburton and Siakam at different points last night. So give a little credit where it's due. I thought Wade
I
looked better than.
and again, maybe it's my eye test and me being at the arena, but I disagree. I just don't think Dean Wade showed me anything that gives me a reason to think that he needs minutes, other than the fact that he's the only other big that we have, other than Tristan Thompson off the bench. DeAndre Hunter too, but when you're talking true tall
I mean,
big,
to be fair, I didn't want either of them getting very many moments or minutes rather.
yeah. And speaking of a guy too that had a lot of discourse about his game, Isaac Okoro played 15 minutes. He had a plus and minus of +3. Sure, he only shot like 3 or 4 times and he missed, but the Pacers went 0 for 3 on him, one of those being a 3-pointer. Like his defensive prowess needs to not be forgotten when he's on the field and he pisses you on the field, Jesus, on the court, and he pisses you off because he misses a 3-pointer or because he takes a bad shot. His defensive prowess is what gets him these playoff minutes, and in moments where defense is absolutely necessary, he still deserves minutes, in my opinion. So any of that discourse, I disagree with. Erik, I don't know if your take's any different.
No, I mean, I'm with you. Listen, game two, we need to come out and look less lackadaisical because, like it or not, we looked uninterested at times. We looked like we expected to sweep this team. We expected to go through them like we went through Miami, and that wasn't the case. I mean, there were times where we just looked unprepared. When they were getting second chance boards on offense, when again, their motion offense and their transition offense were just destroying us all game. And I know defense hasn't been the highlight of this team, but what I saw was just odd. And then our offense was stagnant. Granted, we didn't shoot the ball well, and that will change. I forget what we went from behind the arc, but it was pretty bad.
9 for 38. 9 for
Thank you.
38. That simply cannot happen again. Go ahead, E.
And Mitch was like, I mean, Mitch was the worst offender, I think. Um,
1 for
as a
11.
three ball as a three ball shooting team, yeah, that's going to hurt you. I mean, you put a few more in, we were right in it. That said, again, why aren't we using if we see that three ball's not falling, why aren't we running the offense through Mobley in the paint? I just don't understand. We also weren't moving. What the offense that I like to see are those motion screens coming off those screens. That's where you get guys like Ty Jerome, the good looks. And don't get me wrong, we had plenty of looks all night. But I see somebody bring the ball down, and then the other four guys are just standing around the fucking arc. And there's nothing more frustrating than Ty Jerome getting late into the shot clock and having to hoist up some ridiculous shot that, of course, doesn't fall. What are we doing?
There was a lot of what felt like Ty Jerome ISO ball going on when they had some of the second string, second tier, the bench players in there, which I didn't think made sense. Listen, Kenny Atkinson got awarded coach of the year. This Jesus, Kenny Atkinson got awarded coach of the year today, as we're talking. Not as we're talking, but it happened. Um, it's time to put the money where the mouth is. You're going to have to show us some good adjustments in game two. I don't think it was a bad game plan. I think you still went out there and you were really close in a game that you could have been down a lot more. You're talking 20 versus 50% shooting, rounding down, whatever it was. It was more like 28 and 54 or something like that. But um, man, they need to make some adjustments, and I'm really curious to see out of all these players that are hurt, dinged up, whatever, who's going to rise to the occasion, do something amazing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not taking anything away from Coach Atkinson at all. He deserves the award for what he's put together this season, but that award is a regular season award, and it means jack shit now. So I hope that he has an answer tomorrow night for their speed. Listen, some of it was we're just not getting back. that one transition layup really pissed me off. I don't know if it was late in the third or early in the fourth. I don't remember. But I think we made the bucket and they had a transition layup. We just didn't get back to defend. Like, how is that even possible
Right.
or excusable? That's ridiculous.
No, I'm with you 100%. This Cavs team needs to put up or shut up. Listen, on the last episode we did, I had two keys to winning this series. Donovan Mitchell needs to still play him ball and be the face of the franchise. He did that to an extent. He had 31 points. He got to the line a bunch, but he also went 1 from 11 behind the arc. That cannot happen again. I also said DeAndre Hunter and Ty Jerome need to be the spark plug off the bench. I saw that from neither of them. Now, granted, Hunter is now injured, and we'll see what that looks like moving forward. If the hand is going to bother him, the thumb, I should say, rather. I think those two keys still ring true. If you can see those two things happen, you see Darius Garland come back in game two, at the latest game three. This series is still very much up to grabs. I still think the Cavs are the best team on the court. I think you saw that last night when you were only down four, again shooting 20-ish from three compared to their 50. They shot lights out. We couldn't make anything. It was one of those games on top of some of the other ticky tacky shit going on around the field. And I'm ready for game two and seeing what this team is really made of, because this is the moment that really, this is one of the moments in this run that will cement them as just another team that had a really good regular season record, or they were a threat in the East. And then blah, blah, blah happened, whether that be
Right.
finals, Eastern Conference, or whatnot.
Yeah, listen, first things first, they need to find an answer for Nemhard and Nesmith, Andrew and Aaron. I mean, they just fucking blew us up. But like you said, it's pressure, and pressure does one of two things. Either it cracks you or it makes diamonds. So I'm hoping that it's the latter and that we can move past this blip. I'm still not worried about this team. Um, the Nicholson injuries, it worries me a little. Um, but I'm still not worried. Cavs in 5? Question mark.
Yeah, I'm not getting that far ahead of myself. I already did my take for the time being, so we'll just leave it at that.